I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared.
First, you're gonna tell me about this science stuff.
Sorry about that. What is a scientist?
You caught me like I'm experimenting with
science.
It's like magic with electricity.
I know that. I'm not stupid. I'm smarter than you.
The smartest scientists in the entire world all agree
Science is a liar sometimes.
Seriously, this could not seem less scientific.
Those idiots don't know anything about science.
It's science.
I believe it's pronounced science.
This is the least scientific thing I've ever seen.
So I'm just experimenting with them.
You be quiet.
Thank you, scientist.
And thank you, scientist.
Thank you very much. All of you.
Every last one of you scientists.
Especially
as we establish.
Oh, I was going to say, especially for this episode, Kip Thorne, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, that dude. But as we get to refer to ourselves as the science community, so now do you too.
We have thrusted ourselves into the science community. They may not even know, but we're here.
We in here, the science community.
Right.
And we're trying to laugh at stuff while we say it.
I just wanted, one day we'll have a pass at some Jacob Javits Center or something.
Oh, man, yeah, fuck Comic-Con.
Yeah.
We want to do a fucking a Cosmo Con.
Expo. Yeah, whatever.
Oh, man.
I want scientists to go, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah, we should do that and set up a booth. Or we should just like sneak into one and set up our own booth. Like we have a pass or whatever. We'll make laminates. Do you know anybody that makes laminates? Side note.
The internet.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I've seen you before, the internet.
Yeah, my good friend, the internet.
And on the internet, you can find us, who is Under the Guise of Science.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris.
I'm Charles. One of those. Make up your mind.
Hit all the letters hard.
Charles. It's been another fucking long stretch.
Yep.
It's been.
This should be the end of it, though. I think now I'm back into regular life where I have a schedule. I know where everyone's going to be, what day, so we can kind of plan accordingly. Summer was supposed to be relaxing, but it was crazier.
It was fucking chaos, dude.
Yeah.
I think I finally felt like you.
Yeah.
This past time I went away, I was like, I don't know that I want to be anywhere besides my house right now.
Yeah. Enough of this.
Which again, yeah, I get it that I'm in a good enough position. I appreciate it that, yes, I can complain that I went on vacation more than I wanted to. I understand how ridiculous that sounds. But yeah, I appreciate it is all I'm getting at. I appreciate my house.
Grass is always greener on the other side. And yeah, you're not saying you don't like the ability to go on vacation because it's friggin' awesome, but you know.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very adult thing of me to say just because I can do something doesn't mean I should do something.
Yeah. Just when you're a dude over 40, you're not, like we used to be, I'll go wherever and crash on the floor. You're not doing that anymore. Like,
oh my God. I remember waking up on floors of places and just like I'd be sleeping flat on my chest. So like my rib cage would hurt for the next day. I'd probably feel that for the better part of a year and would have to miss a week of work now.
Yeah.
Like with just how much everything hurts all the time.
Absolutely. I slept in my own bed. The other day I woke up and like I strained or pulled my right hip muscle. So every step now became like this rolling movement because I couldn't just take a normal step forward.
Oh,
and then,
man.
Yeah, I just woke up that way. And then I went to sleep and I woke up the next day and it was gone. Like, why do you do this stuff, body? Like either I need surgery or I don't. Tease me with that.
I wish it would deal in more absolutes. None of this wishy-washy bullshit.
Yeah.
Either I'm hurt or I'm not.
The check oil light goes on. It doesn't go off. You don't start it up and go, look at that. The engine's fine now. The oil righted the ship.
I thought of I was worried I wasn't going to remember this. So I leave my fly down all the time, like not intentionally either. Like I'm just not good at things, and
Right. Mm-hmm.
I always I was gonna ask you, does that happen to you often? But then I realized I had to follow it up with, of the times that you're wearing pants that have zippers,
True.
do you leave your fly down a lot?
No, not too much.
Okay.
Because if I'm wearing something with a zipper, there's usually a belt too. So there's all types of. I'm down there for a minute or two, on or off.
I figure on one hand, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. I'm bad at it all the time, regardless of what day it is or whether or not I'm wearing a belt. But I have pants with zippers on every day, and you would think, like, if it's like it's a special occasion to you, so maybe it pops more, I guess.
Yeah, probably. It definitely doesn't happen as frequently. But you would think though, like, or is it just after the shake you just space out? Like you lose time between shaking and washing your hands. Like, what happened?
I think that implies that I've been paying attention the entire time I was even peeing.
True. Yeah.
It just space out as soon as that starts, just like, all right, well, and just gonna
Admire the decor. It's a public restroom. Read the various phone numbers.
Oh, I gotta find this lady and send her to you. She's a comedian and she does.
Does she know
I've been
she's
watching some
coming
of
here?
her TikToks. She might. She takes graffiti off the insides of bathroom stalls and then makes them into songs.
Ah,
and it's pretty amusing.
probably,
It's pretty
yeah,
well done.
but there's some raunchy stuff there, then, right?
There's some wild, like she'll do women's bathroom, men's bathroom, and men's bathroom is just constantly just her describing the different types of penises that have been drawn on the wall, like wings in a top hat. Just
Yeah, dudes never grow up.
No.
I laughed at this when I was 11. I'm gonna stick with this to the bitter end.
Like, do women's restrooms have like the standard jokes? Like you could walk into any men's room that's crowded, any sporting event specifically, I guess you could go, like, oh, I guess this is where all the dicks hang out, and like that thing,
Right.
or like, oh, this water's pretty cold, huh? Like so there's those.
Right.
But like, so I wonder if women
I have no idea. I don't know what
any of
happens in
those
there.
jokes. I don't know either. It turns out it's not as neat as one would assume. It's actually as disgusting, I hear.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, human bodies are gross. We have to do all this shit to upkeep them so that we're not gross. Yeah.
So if you're a woman and you listen to our program, please write in. Let us know if any type of if there's any running women's bathroom gags that have been going throughout the years. I'd curious.
Be interested.
Or is it
do
just
you guys
writing?
I was gonna say, do you guys just draw boobs on the wall? Is it because if we're drawing the things that hang off us?
Do you also draw your things?
Right. Seems fair. If I was a girl, I was pooping and I had a marker, I could see myself drawing some boobs.
I would agree. I would also draw some boobs.
Yeah.
Excuse me. One moment. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, no. But like I was saying, I pretty much found my sense of humor through Beavis and Butthead and stuck with it. Kind of like becoming a fan of a sports team. So I'll choose this when I'm 9, and now this is for the rest of my life.
I will live and die by this show from here until eternity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Speaking of eternity,
Yeah.
that's how long black holes last for, right?
No, they eventually
Okay.
pop, but it's like, as far as we're concerned, it might as well be. I think it's like 10 to the 120th, something like it's some crazy number like that. Like one with 100 zeros, 100 and something zeros after it.
Wow.
Really, real big. That's how long they live. So it's a number that means nothing to anybody listening to. Like, it's impossible to comprehend how long they'll be around. Yeah.
It like when we were whenever the hell that which episode was that? Was that that was Brian Cox. We got into black holes a bit with Brian Cox stuff. But he just wrapping your head around light that left 2 million years ago, just getting here. Like, and that already doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
The one you just said might as well be printed on Disney money. Because it's like, all right, I guess this is this is technically a number.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's meaningless.
Do you have change of this bill, whatever it is?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you want to talk about any black hole stuff first, or you want to weave it in?
Yeah, we could probably weave it in. I mean,
okay.
So we watched the movie Interstellar. If anyone has listened to our previous movie watch episode where we watched Anaconda, I kind of did a little bit of scientific, I don't know, research. Not even research, fact checking, I guess is a better word. Where if the snake did something, I just quick Google search, can anacondas do that? And pulled some results from there. So for this one, that exercise was kind of stupid because it was like, oh, the black holes do this, and then it leads you to a paper written by Kip Thorne, who is the consulting scientist on this project to make sure everything stayed within the realm of scientific theory. So there's a lot of sound science in this movie.
I could be making this up, but I feel like I heard or read that he might have also been a consultant on what's the other one? Contact.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
The other McConaughey black hole movie. I like that you have to delineate between the two now.
Not this McConaughey, but yeah. And also you have to, this is the second movie, or I don't know if this is the first of the two, but another Matt Damon Alone on a Planet.
Yeah, this actually came out first, which we can get a little bit more into that a little bit later, just because there's a lot of fun stuff with there. But I really dug the shit out of this movie.
Same. No, I enjoyed it.
It's a Christopher Nolan movie right out of it. Like, you can feel it immediately, and just from the opening shot, like they're starting to show like title credits, and they show the bookshelf, and I'm like, all right, Christopher Nolan, let's see if I should look for any of the titles on those books and see how this ties into how it's gonna, like, he's gonna wrap the whole thing back in and throw it in on itself. Like, that was the initial instinct, and ended up not being too far off.
Right.
Barking up the right tree, but
he starts thinking like, all right, how can I pinky finger their brains? That's his goal.
Yeah.
It's a little slight pinky fingering. It's not a complete mind fuck. It's just
it's just a gentle massaging of the mind. It's yet another movie that he did with Hans Zimmer. Is doing the film score. Yeah, he did. I don't know what he necessarily did with, like, I think he did The Prestige with him. He did Inception with him also. He did the film score for that. Hans Zimmer also did Gladiator, the Russell Crowe, in 2000. And like, he's huge nerd target on my back right now, but he is arguably my favorite film score composer. Like, the shit he makes, like, grabs you really well, and you read what it's about. Like, Inception had lots of like every movie now that has the trailers that just have the big loud thwomp,
Yeah.
thwomp. Like Hans Zimmer, I won't say he created that, but like I think the Inception soundtrack definitely fucking pushed it out in the front where everyone else was like, oh, I can rip this off too. And that's kind of like, so to see for the film score to this to be so subtle and like so simple and basic, it didn't get too crazy or intense as far as like volume and like the volume works in that sense, like the vastness of like how big the sound is,
Right.
except for a few key parts. Also lots of cool anytime, because there was plenty of tension and there were lots of deadlines that they had to hit throughout this movie, and like just like the almost like mimicking like a metronome or a clock, like slowly increasing to build the tension. It's just really well done.
The music was excellent with that. There was some spots where it was like out of nowhere the music just cut off because something happened. Like they did a lot of cool stuff with sound in this in general, but I wasn't aware that the same guy did the music for all those movies you named. So that's really awesome. Yeah, because I like the scores for all that.
Look him up later, and you're like, holy fuck! He's done all this stuff. Like him and Alan Silvestri. He was the guy that did. He wrote the Avengers score. Like he did a few of those Avengers movies, but a lot of the big ones. Like he hasn't done all of them, but he did. I think he's got stuff to do with Endgame and like all the big hits. But yeah, like that song is iconic. You recognize that immediately.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he's another one too. There's your homework, folks. Alan Silvestri and Hans Zimmer. Good night, everybody. No. But yes.
Yep. So cool stuff. Yeah, so I don't know how do you want to? I guess I have some notes so we can kind of run through.
Okay. You want to just go basic plot of the movie, like
if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it and you want to see it, don't listen. There's going to be a full spoil. We're not going to care about spoilers at all. We're just going to openly discuss it. So it's been out for a long time. It's on you. It's
going to be in the title of the episode that we watch this movie, which means that we watch this movie.
Yeah. If you didn't see it before me, I don't know how to help you.
I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, the movie starts out and they don't tell you what year it is, and they're kind of hinting that it's definitely the future and it's some type of dystopian thing has occurred, some type of dystopian event. But yeah, they're in like a farmy, dust bowl-y looking thing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was supposed to be like our Earth in the future or just some science fiction version of Earth, like in a, I don't know, parallel kind of universe type thing. But it was, because some of the stuff they were saying, it seemed very rustic. And I know the one guy was an engineer, so he had his, the main guy, Matthew McConaughey, he is an engineer, so he had self-powered or self-operating machines on the farm and stuff like that. But it was still, it looked like a very current day kind of civilization. It didn't look too advanced, but there were some things like NASA being hidden and all that kind of stuff that made it seem like either this is an alternate timeline or this is in the future and we're getting there.
Yeah, and even like upon looking it up afterwards and having it pointed out where the things were, where you could kind of tie down the year that the first third of the movie is taking place in. I was like, oh shit! Like I didn't even piece it together, just because it's a lot of shit coming at you quick.
Yes,
like the whole.
First of all, when you're going Interstellar and it starts out talking about farms and dust and crops and all that, I'm like, there's a laptop. Like, what are we doing? What is this movie about? I thought space was involved.
This isn't even Unistellar at the moment.
Yeah, right.
It is for only half the day.
It's for the corn. That's what we're talking about. The photosynthesis. Is this a photosynthesis based movie? It wasn't.
It was
thankfully.
not.
No.
And what they do say about movies, if corn's in something, you're more than likely to like it more.
That's true.
They said that about all the movies.
That's a blanket statement. If corn's in something, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, you'll probably like it more. That's
right.
It's hard to argue with that logic.
Truth.
So
we got Matthew McConaughey. Oh, sorry.
No,
he's a engineer and a farmer and a former pilot and smartest guy on earth. And he's driving along and they get a flat tire and then there's a drone and he's like, I'm going to steal that fucking drone.
How great is that?
Yeah. Is that allowed?
So first he hands the daughter the fucking what I thought was like a tactical short range missile. I was like, this motherfucker's got a rocket launcher in his truck. But it was just sending it like a jamming signal they hacked into the drone.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that was how they did that.
Yeah, somehow he took control of it with a laser and a laptop or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah. She had to hold it on and he was typing or something. Which as an IT guy, anytime they portray a hacker, a skilled computer person, it's fucking insulting because you don't go like that. You go and you let it run. You click it once and the thing runs in the background and then you get a report when it's done. Like maybe you type in one command and hit enter, but you don't, the speed of your typing doesn't help with computers at all.
But what if you get stopped at the firewall and then you have to reroute yourself into the mainframe? Huh?
Right.
What do you do
exactly.
then? Do you not just feverishly just punch the keyboard over and over again? I guess Independence Day got it right because he hit enter on the fucking virus and then he just stepped away from the computer.
Right. And let it do its thing.
All right. See, Jeff Goldblum would not stand for that. I heard. Yeah. He was like, this is bullshit.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's, come on, we've all seen it. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Here.
There was an episode of CSI or one of them shows where like he was fighting a hacker and he's pounding on the keyboard and he's like, he's getting in. And the girl standing next to him starts typing on the same keyboard. The two of them are both like, how would you know I need you to hit L now? I just hit S. Now you have to hit L. Like it doesn't, it's not hungry hippos. We're not bashing the keys as quickly as possible. Yeah.
It's not a fucking dueling piano bar finale.
Yeah, exactly.
What? They're going to play on the same one as me.
Right. If the hacker got in, that means you already lost. You had to set it up beforehand. But yeah, I digress.
Yeah, no, if we do they're like shoving the door back shut while the hacker has one leg all the way through. And he's just
man, I can't hit W and K quick enough. I need they're too far apart.
Shit. So TV and computer hacking or TV and movie hacking is bullshit.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what we got to get like I don't know, like a Kip Thorne type consultant on some of those movies. They'd be if you did a real hacker movie, it would be the most boring shit. It would be the network guys looking at their monitor and the hacker at his computer also looking at his monitor, or maybe going to Wendy's while it did its thing. That's your movie.
It's just like tense music building up. and like the guy paying for the job and the hacker just sitting there, and it's tense music, and just hits enter, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna go outside for a couple hours. You can chill if you want. You can nap on the couch, but I got shit to do. I got an alarm on my watch that's going to tell me when I should start coming back. But if I don't, just hit OK when it pops up on the screen. Later. Credits.
Yeah. Great movie. I guess that's why they do it. So
yeah, it's
Anyhow.
There are probably, yeah, I'll go with probably. Screw it. There are probably a bunch of people who have heard me type and are just annoyed by how loud I type, just because immediately when I first got any type of like keyboard, like word processor computer, it was just like, all right, then you obviously have to type as loud as they type in movies. So I just slam the keyboards all the time when I'm typing. And I'm sure I drove somebody up a wall. I don't know who it is, but you can thank Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park for that.
that's how I learned how to type from Samuel L. Jackson. All right.
So he steals this drone.
Yeah. So speaking of things that are insulting, here's the part where I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? When the part with the textbooks where they were talking about, so anyway, he drops his kids off at school and has to meet with the principal or whatever, and they're saying his daughter is too into science and got in a fist fight because she insists that the moon landing was real, and the textbooks say that it was a cover up or it was a clever ruse to make the Soviet Union spend all its money.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, man, they're starting off on this foot, huh?
Yeah, I was like, what is this, another flat Earth reality where that's actually took foothold in the government and stuff?
Oh, I didn't even think of it that way. That it's that the movie was taking place on a flat Earth the whole time. That's the twist.
No, I was thinking like flat earthers somehow infiltrated positions of power and got this shit pushed out. The whole hoax thing. It turns out it was flat.
That's why all the physics were a little different, or as far as we know. But yeah, that's right. I remember going that way, or seeing that, and even hearing the way he was talking. He was just like, McConaughey's character in the beginning was he's like, shit was better the way it used to be. Stuff was better.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh man, he's coming from a very he's not into everything progressing the way that it is, kind of thing.
Right.
Or maybe it might have even been who was his dad in that? Have I forgotten already?
I think it was his father-in-law, but that was John Lithgow.
Lithgow, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember getting excited to see him. I always like seeing John Lithgow.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I
wish
think,
it was more often.
It's you always want him to be sillier and crazier because he does that well, but he also does serious real good all the time. It's like, all right, I guess, fine.
I guess he's one of those diverse actors. Whatever.
Yeah, or blessed with the gift and true entertainer and. I was doing the Chris Farley, Bennett Brower.
Yeah, with
with the air quotes. I don't bathe regularly, or I have a face that frightens small children, or I have dried up deodorant cakes underneath my armpits at all times, or I just hours of that. Let's see. So the daughter gets suspended for a couple days, has to stay home, and then notices that there's some dust landing in a certain way, which she thinks might be Morse code. And Matthew McConaughey is like, "Yo, this is gravity." which was crazy. Like, I mean, everything that happens, like that moves physically, involves gravity in some way, shape, or form. But like specific little extra gravity spots,
right in this
Yeah.
sliver of
it was real weird.
right.
But,
So yeah, at that point, I thought, are we watching an alien movie? Like I had no idea what I was getting into at that point. So it was kind of, I'm glad I didn't read up on this movie at all before I saw it. That I went in completely cold and didn't know. Like there was even actors and actresses like Lithgow, same thing. I was like, oh shit, he's in it. There was a couple of those as it went on, but it was interesting. I was like, okay, I have no idea where they're going with this because that's an interesting concept to just have gravity be heavy or stronger in this tiny area.
Yeah, and it was even, it because he throws the coin up to kind of figure it out, and it's like, oh, it's definitely stronger in just this sliver. Like you were just saying, is absolutely insane because gravity affects everything through other things.
Yeah,
like just because my hand's on there's a table right here. If I just let my hand up like that, it's just going to fall onto the table because the gravity is still happening.
Right, and you wouldn't think that gravity is like a dial that can be adjusted like that. It's based on the warping of space and time by a massive object. So it's the closer you are to that center of mass, that's how the strength is determined, or the pull is determined, I guess. So yeah, it's cool, and this is one of those things where I know Kip Thorne was very adamant about any kind of science fiction twists that you go off on, or any kind of weird science fiction-y stuff should be somehow founded in science. He didn't want anything just out of a writer's head that was just creative thinking. He wanted it to have start in science before it went off in a weird direction. So I mean, I guess the idea of a gravity well or something like that isn't implausible.
No, it makes it more enjoyable because it's not just, oh, all right, I guess this can happen. Like it's not just leaving it open ended. It's still by tying it to your own reality that you, the viewer, are in. I just said viewer in. It was tough. But yeah, it makes it more fun for looking at.
So it was when they figured out that those were coordinates
to the underground NASA base.
Yeah, secret NASA underground.
And not for nothing, McConaughey.
NASA Underground sounds like a punk band from California in the late 70s. Yeah.
Either that or, let's see, NASA Underground. Like, that also feels kind of like party band, jam bandy a little bit.
Yeah.
Like
a little trippy, kind of.
Like genre blending, jammy, reggae, but also electronic music, kind of. Yeah, like NASA Underground absolutely headlined at least one of the nights at Bonnaroo this last year. There's no way that didn't happen. Not after the way they shot out after the quarantine. They just hit the ground running, touring.
Strike while the iron's hot, NASA Underground.
Absolutely. That is, by the way, the name of their first album, Strike While the Iron's Hot.
I wasn't ready for that.
So where are we at?
I was about to move on. Little did I know you had the best joke. Still coming.
God damn it. I got to hit my cough button more. I apologize. Yeah, anywho. So coordinates.
Yep.
So they did you figure out where they were? I meant to look up, like, if you could figure out where in the United States they are. I can look that up. Or where it's speculated.
No, I assumed Midwest or Great Plains, kind of, just because of all the corn.
It makes sense. I'm not sure where Akra, as they kept calling it in that movie. Oh no, Michael Caine kept saying Okra.
Okay.
But we'll get to him in a minute. Well, he is at NASA, that Michael Caine. Well,
Yeah.
before we so they take the truck, and because the daughter's suspended, she's like, "I'm coming," and Matthew McConaughey's like, "No, you're not," and he goes to get his car.
Oh,
If
no,
you-
you're not.
You're gonna stay right here. You just got to do it down here, just barely even, just kind of.
Right, yeah. Don't move your jaw.
Don't move too much. You're gonna move your head more than you move your jaw. So if you have a precocious young daughter and you have a bunch of shit on your passenger seat in your truck, fucking lift it up. Look under there if you don't really want it. Yeah. The second they showed the inside of the truck, I was like, she's definitely there.
Yeah.
You silly goose. Look at the fight she put up.
He's very book smart, but
nope.
That's what they say. You either got book smarts or street smarts, right?
That's right. Some of us kind of either.
Right. But then, I guess like pilot and astronaut smart, that's like a different level. Because like you got to know some shit and do it.
Right. You gotta know some shit, and then know some other shit, and then know and the actions that tie those two different things together.
Yeah. And do it now.
Yeah. Without
yeah.
having to think.
Yeah.
You just gotta be a second instinct.
You can't waste your time on thinking about it.
Wait too long, you'll find a moment past.
He did a lot of similar types. He did a lot of piloty stuff in this movie. It's like, I love it. I love when it's like, you can't do that. That's against regulations. And he's like, we're going to get out of here one way. I'm kind of slipping into Clinton, but.
Well, I do agree. You are gonna have to. I'm gonna have to stop off and speak to that young lady out there.
See, speaking of slipping into Clinton, let's see what Clinton can slip into.
Oh. Hey. So they get to NASA. That's what those coordinates were. They were for NASA. And NASA's been underground for 20 years, as we mentioned earlier, with all those jokes. But still doing it. And the head of NASA is, well, he's not the head, but he's in there. My cocaine, which if you just say the words my cocaine, this isn't my joke. You're saying Michael Caine.
Yeah. I never noticed that before. Yeah. My cocaine.
Yeah, my cocaine. You've said it in his voice.
And shorthead Anne Hathaway took me by surprise. I didn't know she was in the movie. I didn't know Michael Caine was in the movie.
I think I only knew Matthew McConaughey was in the movie, and I forgot anybody else that I might have remembered. Though again,
I think I only knew McConaughey was in it because we were talking about how we should watch Interstellar, and you mentioned Matthew McConaughey was in it.
Oh, so man.
Yeah, I knew I came in so cold to this movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I did a very good job of like avoiding spoilers, but shit, you went in real cold. I'm jealous.
Yeah, I knew I was. My wife hated it, but I was very happy with it. I liked the movie.
Oh man, what were her critiques?
Actually, I wrote them down. Hang on.
Oh,
she had two problems. She hated the ending, which we'll get to.
Okay.
But she does not like. She likes things wrapped up in with a nice bow, neat little package. She doesn't like that kind of open-ended stuff.
Then do not watch Inception with her.
I haven't. And the second thing that she didn't like was the suspense.
Oh.
She didn't like how suspenseful it was. So I said, so the movie. Because the movie was pretty much suspense until the ending. And if you didn't like those two things.
Oh, man. Well, my apologies to half of you.
That's all right. We got to hang out. We made the kids stay in the other room. I was like, don't make any noise. I'm watching this. I'm taking notes. I'm watching this for the podcast.
Which, how great is it that you could say that sentence actually to your children?
Right. This is for the show. They're still young enough that they're not going to go, you don't have a show, you hack.
Yeah. Watch, I have a phone. Oh, I recorded. Oh, look, now I have a show too. Asshole.
Right.
Throw the phone at you.
I just recorded myself playing video games and got 4 times the hits in one day that you've had in your entire show.
Well, if we learned some of those cool dances, maybe we'd be taken off a little bit more.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's the Bill Clinton jokes that are dating us. Our audience is slowly dying.
No. We are going to ride the wave of the resurgence of Bill Clinton impressions.
We're pioneers.
Yeah. Like there's comedians working on it in the club right now. I'm like, fuck yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to love this when I start doing this tomorrow.
It's going to slay.
Yeah, there's going to be a big confluence of Bill Clinton impressions. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. We're going to get paid from that shit.
Yeah. Mark it. Mark the calendar or something.
So NASA's like, hey, we've been here the last 20 years. And we got a message, right? And then they discovered a wormhole near Saturn.
Yep.
And they sent like probes through there first, and then they got successful information that there were some exoplanets. And then they were like, and then we sent some people there. One astronaut to each exoplanet to do some exploring. And then they're like, oh, by the way, Matthew McConaughey, remember when you used to work here?
Yeah. That was so he sneaks in, and they were like, how did you find this? This is the most secret place in the world. Well, now that you're here, we got a job for you.
Yeah.
We were going to do this. We've been planning this space mission for a decade, but we didn't have a pilot. Thank God you showed up. Which, to be fair, at the time I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, he just happened to walk in at this time. But looking back on it, it's like, oh, that was a plot point. It was actually addressed, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very contrived and just very like Deus Ex Machina this early in the movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, don't worry, something magical happened and swooped in, and now everything's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. It turns out to pay off a little
warranted.
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I glaze over too much right there? Were there any stuff that you had to? I know I
don't think so.
spit out
The
a lot
only
of
thing
plot.
they were talking about that the blight breathes nitrogen, which I didn't look up, but I don't know, do plants or like fungi or whatever type of thing this is like thrive on nitrogen like that? That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. Let's see what this Google
It's a
machine
blight
tells
one.
us.
A blight is a plant disease caused by fungi such as mildews, rusts, and smuts. Smuts is a real word.
No, not smuts.
That's why. I bet that's why pornography is so looked down upon in the farming countries. All right. Smut makes the plants die. A lot of good words along here with this too. Like these are all like either bands or shirt companies. Listen to this: canker, scourge, bane, affliction, plague. All,
Yeah, I think Affliction is a band name, if I'm not mistaken.
it is a douchey shirt company. Or it could also be a band. There could be a band with Affliction.
No,
Yeah.
if the company took it, then no one's going to touch it.
Oh, that's right. Does Blight breathe?
Blight. Does it breathe? Nitrogen. Christ, I can't find it. To hell with it.
Well, anyway, for the sake of argument, this blight breathes nitrogen, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because we're all in on the rules of this universe or this whatever. So yeah.
It's at this point in the movie that they cue that it is, I think it's 2067.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah, because something happened 48 years right before. Yeah, this is when they say, again, I looked it up, but if you watch it again, folks, or look it up yourselves.
I did like that they were talking about the wormhole that opened near Saturn, and they were like, wormholes don't occur naturally. Someone must have opened this. Let's go in it. Like, what if those someones are not trustworthy?
Yeah.
Like come into my parlor, said the spider to the fly kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What'd the fly do?
I don't know. Probably died. That's usually what happens.
Natural causes in his 90s, actually. Fly lived a long life.
Yeah, so his grandkids get married. It was wonderful.
Spider with fucking never mind. I was trying to make a bifocals but 16 joke.
Octifocal. Yeah.
Octibular focals. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wormhole. One of the coolest. Like I remember thinking it, watching it, but it kind of getting swept away a little bit, and then I listened. Or again, a big benefit to picking a movie that's really old and not Anaconda is that there's a bunch of people who have made videos explaining it.
Yeah.
Like,
a complicated old movie.
Yeah. She's a complicated old movie, she is.
Is that my cocaine?
But yeah, one of the coolest bits of science that got pointed out was the whole the wormhole is 3-dimensional. It's a sphere. It's not a hole.
Right.
Like it's not just a flat disc.
Right, it wouldn't make sense. What's on the side? What's on the other side? Yeah,
yeah. Like it's not just going to be like Looney Tunes. Fucking throw a hole in the middle of the air and you can dive into the hole. But it sounds silly, but nobody's ever really like in a large enough scale like pointed that out. Like, why would it be in 2 dimensions? Everything else that we see is in 3 dimensions.
Yeah,
it's
true.
And that makes it even crazier because at least like if you're like, oh no, I'm heading for that wormhole. Should you find yourself in that weird? It was like, all right, if I just get to the left, I could get by it. But no, you're still gonna bump into it and still
now you're in.
End up further away. And also the wormholes don't occur naturally. Even if it's 100 more years, I guarantee you they haven't mapped the entire known and unknown universe well enough.
Oh yeah,
that they don't know wormholes can or can't occur naturally.
I'm pretty sure it's in the math. It's in general relativity. It like allows for wormholes to exist. It's just like they're not stable because as soon as you try to go through it, you're changing the mass. You're changing like even to a small degree. And they're mathematically they seem to collapse once you do that. So it could be they could exist, but are not necessarily usable. Like if we could create one, going through it and keeping it stable is problem number 2.
Right. Yeah. Like, so you can technically teleport like a quark.
I guess
right?
maybe something like
kinda
that.
I feel like I saw Brian Cox. Yeah, because Brian Cox and Conan were yelling about it because Conan was like,
Okay.
"There's teleporting! Nobody told me!" It's just like, because Brian Cox said they were getting like a quark or something to teleport, but it's the matter. The immediate response of is like, "Oh, teleporting!" It's like, technically, yes, teleporting,
Right.
but the real problem, like the devil in the details, is how do we do that with something of mass? And
Right, yeah, you don't want to get sent quark by quark.
Yeah.
That's not a fun experience, I would imagine.
And reassembling it, like, I mean,
yeah,
just attach it to a laser printer, and then that'll just laser print you back out, and it's fine. There you go. I fixed your little problem, Brian Cox. All from things I learned on this program.
Can you reprint me with like newer muscles and ligaments and bones, please? keep all this soft stuff, but replace all the hard stuff that's breaking down, I guess.
Yeah, just new cartilage. That's all I want. It's just anywhere that
Put
had
that back in.
cartilage. Like I asked a doctor because I hurt my knee once. I was like, all right, and I'm gonna say this really dumb because that's the only words I know how to use to say this. But since sharks are mostly cartilage, why can't they take like needles of sharks and just inject sharks into our knees? Why don't we just have more? Like, obviously, I know you can't just fill it up like that. And if I remember correctly, this doctor was like, so it's more than just doing that. Your cartilage, the way it attaches to the bones on either side of it and everything else around there, it's as unique as your fingerprint. Like, there's not just like cartilage. Like, it's not generic. Like, you can't just like. Although I think that they have made some improvements with that, just because like I said, I'm just trying to make it till the robots and just trying to until they can just replace most of me and I can be mostly machine.
Right. Just put my personality in something awesome.
Yeah. Something that will not break when I try to do tricks. Because I am going to be all about tricks again once I can do stuff.
I've been dying to do tricks. It's this meat sack that's holding me back.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully one day we'll just be able to just and just suck some shark out and jam it into my knees.
Oh, get out of the way, shark knees. I'm late for the bus.
Oh, look at this guy with his fucking shark knees.
Hey, shark knees, what's the holdup? We gotta record or somehow list all these dumbass things that we've come up with. Some good ones.
All the science terminology that is preceded by oh.
Yeah, it turned into Brooklyn cabbie insults.
So shark knees to how did we?
If you're gonna put my brain in something, I would like it to be one of those robots that they had that can apparently do anything, move anyway, and they were pretty crazy.
Yeah, with 4 appendages, essentially, all 4 in a row appendages would sound like it. But like originally, that's what it looked like. But as it got further on, you were like, oh, they got like these little elbow joint things that come out.
Yeah, the one turned into like a wheel almost. They had like, or the remember the Animal, the remote control car? It was like one of those where it had like the go over anything with that. Can anything stop? Whatever that thing's name was.
The Animal.
TARS.
The Animal. Was it Tars and Sars? What were their names?
I think one was Ace and Tars, I think.
it was Anne and Tars. Boo. Stupid.
Yeah, that's all right. That's for the dad joke fans. Namely me.
So McConaughey's like, yeah, I'll fly into this fucking wormhole for you.
Yeah. And I also, so two things from when they get to the thing on Saturn. So they had their regular ship that they flew out of Earth's orbit with, and they connected with some kind of the interstellar craft that's like a docking station that used gyroscopic energy and whipped around Mars apparently.
And did it? I was wondering, was it using kind of like the solar sail? Was it like being like the circly part on the outside? Was that?
I don't know if that was solar. I think that was more like centrifugal or centrifugal, however centrifugal. However you say that word.
I don't know.
Yeah, however you say that word. But I think it might have been more like a gyroscope type thing for that to give them power without wasting too much fuel. I don't think it was solar. At least it didn't seem like they mentioned that.
They definitely didn't. It just kind of looked like there might have been solar panels on like the back parts.
Maybe. Yeah. I'm not going to... I don't know enough about it to say yes or no, to be honest with you.
Right.
So we'll leave that up to your imagination, dear listener. But two things from that I thought were cool. One that I thought was cool, that was the shots in space when the camera was on the outside of the ship, like when it docked and the locks came down. The fact that there was no sound, I thought that was a nice touch, that those were in complete absence of sound when they did those kinds of shots.
Yeah.
That's kind of, so for, again, no air, no sound.
Yeah, it's jarring.
Yeah.
Because there's always all the noises normally when you're watching this stuff. And just...
Yeah, it just reminds you, this is completely, you're out of your element now. This is something different. Yeah. And the other cool thing, though, was I want to start narrating my day like a pilot. Coming down the stairs, left foot almost down, turning right, heading to the kitchen. Now, I'm in the kitchen, success, going to the fridge.
Like
nobody does that enough.
It almost sounds like you wrote code for yourself and then you're reciting it as it's happening. I like doing I like narrating other people's lives at them. Not my joke. I'm sure I don't remember. Family Guy probably did it at one point. But yeah, like somebody walks in and says something. You go, he exclaimed, quite tired of everything. He'd had a very rough afternoon and he'd done his best to try to hold it together. But
I'm sure they love that.
He exclaimed, quite matter-of-factly. So they get to this wormhole. And let me tell you, this is a fucking wormhole, bro.
That's a wormhole. That's a big wormhole. Yeah.
Oh, get to the front of the ship. Look at this fucking thing. You see this? That's a fucking wormhole, bro.
And so they're going through and I heard them say the bulk, which is, again, this is based in sound scientific theory, but the bulk meaning like hyperspace, or the level of space and dimensions and whatever above ours, where if we're the multiverse thing is real, or the idea of, remember brains, we talked about those with string theory.
Oh, BRANE brains, right?
Yes, yeah, short for membrane. That's just right. Yeah, exactly. So all that stuff, if that stuff is real, they exist in some higher level of space that's known as the bulk, or known as hyperspace. But so I thought that was a nice little Easter egg to physics nerds.
Ooh, and
I guess-
to movie nerds, I would like to point out that they explained the wormhole functioning the exact same way that they did in Event Horizon, which is they say it's taking 2 points in space on opposite sides of the paper, folding a paper in half, and then punching, and then even using the same terminology, punching through to the other side.
Yeah,
to come out there.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I guess in theory, that is what you would have to do with the wormhole.
which what is her name here, real quick? Dr. Jana Levine. She was she studied at Columbia for a little bit. First met Neil deGrasse Tyson when she was going to school there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say she's on his show a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where I know the name.
Yeah, she was. So I listened to the Star Talk episode about this, just because she's has her doctorate in the theory of relativity and stuff like that. So she's
a wheelhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And she pointed out that wormholes, though, were not obviously not capable of forming or making one, or they theoretically should. Like, it makes sense that you should be able to draw 2 points in the dimension of time near each other, or time or space-time, without affecting the matter around it. Which the example that they were using is, let's just pull California to New York real quick, and then what happens to everything between the two? Like, do they not get smushed together? But like, she was explaining the way, like, again, in the math, it makes sense that there should be a way to do that, which is crazy. Because
get there in time. I'm sorry.
Quite a race.
Thank you. But yeah, and I think I said that earlier. That like I already said that.
Oh yeah,
read some shit.
That woman said it. I said it earlier.
I probably read some shit that she wrote, but yeah, like Einstein, pretty kind of his equations predicted or allow for it. So yeah, that's which is fucking weird. Like how? But
yeah, getting further and further from Einstein doing all this stuff, and he's still being right about stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, goddamn.
And
I guess that's why people wanted to steal his brain.
You still got to make that video game happen.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so they get into the bulk.
Yeah.
And this is where we get into the really heavy sci-fi.
Yeah, there's some handy touchy with Dr. Brand, Anne Hathaway, and them as what she thinks it is.
That's right. She's touching while they're going through the bulk. That's right. I forgot that part already.
Which again, you're a scientist. Why would you? Let's see what happens. Like, she's lucky that it didn't, I don't know, melt her fingers into whatever.
Yeah.
But
like, if I was like, fuck, I'm in the ship and it's coming in the ship now. Like,
yeah.
Anytime the stuff that's outside starts coming inside, you should be of concern in any vehicle that you're in.
At least move more to the middle. Like, buy yourself 3 more seconds to get out of the way.
I mean, at the very least, I mean, you guys don't have like one stick laying around in that ship. You can't just fucking
right, poke it with that.
Yeah.
That's like people that hear like a gunshot and go, "What was that?" You should have already been running. If you heard it, that means you got a chance. Don't.
I'm that guy. What is all this? Or, ooh, what's that? That sounds exciting. Like that's the even worse one. That's the one I'm stuck with.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah, like if I hear a scuffle in my wife and I were in Penn Station once, like 5 or 6 in the afternoon. We were going to a show in the city, and there's a guy yelling like they do in Penn Station. And then I hear what sounds like an altercation a couple 100 feet later, but it's still in like the wide open spot. And then it turns real argumenty and fighty, and it looks like it's turning into a small riot.
Oh shit!
And we're still a couple 100 feet away, and there's like cops and Port Authority cops running at it. And my immediate reaction is, oh, ooh, let me see if I can get over here to the left a little bit and see what's going on over there better.
Right.
And Lauren's reaction, rightfully so, is like, get in here inside the Dwayne Reed. Stop trying to see the action.
Right. You catch a stray.
Which, by the way, so there's a ton of cops running for it, like, that get there immediately. And then there's like the second wave of slower cops behind them.
Right.
And one of them just drops a clip, like a full loaded clip out of his belt.
Jesus.
Just slides across the floor of Penn Station.
Whoops.
Yeah. And that was the other thing. She's like, somebody dropped a clip from their gun. I was like, yeah, they didn't have the important part, though. We were still fine from that.
Right. Yeah, you have to throw that so hard.
What's the Creole X-Man guy that throws shit?
Oh, Gambit.
Yeah, that motherfucker flicking bullets at me. Him or Bullseye.
Yeah, well, Bullseye would make it count, too. Yeah.
Yeah, deeper cut characters, or so I think. They've all been in movies already, but still.
Right. There's multiple iterations. But anywho, speaking of movies.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to say, so now they get through the wormhole, and the system that they're looking at with these multiple planets is orbiting a supermassive black hole. So, like, we made a horrible mistake already. Let's turn around. This isn't going to work.
Yeah, like isn't that just circling the drain? Essentially.
Even if they could be at a distance where they can safely orbit and not necessarily be pulled in. If the right speed, the right distance, they can orbit that forever as if it was a star or as if it was any center of mass. They're not necessarily in danger of being pulled in unless it somehow accretes more mass from other things and grows bigger, and then that changes the center of mass. So that would change kind of. But if it's stable, yeah, it can orbit. The problem is the light, I guess, that you see that's going around the black hole. Yeah, it emits energy, and I guess technically photosynthesis would be possible, but that's only the visible light. Like, it pulls in the ultraviolet, it pulls in the gamma rays, it pulls in all the other stuff that you can't necessarily see. So it would be like, if you're that close, just a torrent of these ultraviolet waves whipping around that I don't think would be very good for life in general on a lot of these planets.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of, life could happen near a supermassive black hole, but it's definitely way more rare than around the star.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, highly.
Which technically means it could have happened at least once in the entire universe ever.
There's enough trillions of supermassive black holes that it could be real.
There's trillions of them too.
Well, there's trillions of galaxies, right?
Yeah,
so
that's right. So center of
per
each
galaxy, technically. Yeah.
Fuck. So many.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's trillions of everything.
The common misconception about a black hole is that people picture it like a drain, like that it's drawing everything around it. But if something has like if there's a black hole the same mass as our sun, aside from the not having sunlight and dying part, but let's just say that that was you get a pass on that, we would still probably keep orbiting it at the same rate,
exactly,
because it's the same mass, and that's what's causing the gravity and the stuff to be drawn to it, is the mass.
Exactly. Yeah, nothing would change in orbits or gravity. Yeah.
It would change and
Which, I mean, is another wild concept because, yeah, like you said, normally you think of a black hole as sucking stuff in, but it really isn't. It's just a shit that's so massive that once you cross a certain point, because even like that light that you're seeing around that's circling that supermassive black hole, that light is, believe it or not, is moving in a straight line. It is moving through space from point A to point B in a straight line. It's just that the space it's moving through is so wildly curved that its straight line is now like going around the rim of a bowl or a hole, I guess is a better idea.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're riding your bike along the street, and then all of a sudden the road banks. And it banks, and now you're still going the same speed, still riding straight, holding your handlebar straight, but because that road is so banked, you're turning. You're going around that banked road. Yeah, light's doing the same thing. Everything's doing the same thing with gravity.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And the time dilation stuff that they did, like I feel like that's the unsung hero, like the unsung cast member of this movie was the time dilation shit.
It's almost the big bad. I mean, I know that technically the other guys were bads, but yeah, time dilation is really the enemy of this movie.
Yeah. And the I forget who it was. I think Catwoman. What the hell's her name?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Or Brand, Dr. Brand.
Yes, Dr. Brand. I think she had the line about that time has to be considered like a commodity, like oxygen or food or something like that. It's you can't get it back. You only have an even more finite amount than you already do.
Yeah.
Which is just a crazy way to think about it. It essentially just tightens up the scale because time is commodity and runs out. Not to be all grim, but
it raises the stakes because you're thinking this guy he's trying to get home, and he even comes up with like the plan to minimize how much time they're actually spending in this time dilated area where things are slowing down. Yeah,
and the
they go to that.
Yeah, the first place they go, they're getting a good message saying, "Hey, this planet's safe," I think, or whatever. But it just happened to be that lady's probe, or the dead scientist's probe, just sending a message because it was waves, just lots of water.
Right, and they probably thought, "Oh, we found water. It's potential for life to live here," which was freaky that they landed in and it's only like ankle deep.
Yeah.
And then what they thought was a mountain kept coming close.
It's just skyscraper sized tidal waves that go on for thousands of miles.
And again, I'm guessing that has to do with because now this first planet is closer to the black hole, so it's where gravitation is probably fairly strong. So I'm assuming that they're just showing like the immense tidal forces, the immense tidal pull from the black hole that would cause this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That crazy tidal waves. That
was nuts. And
yeah.
And they end up losing one of their crew. Cause
that dude with a beard that always plays a dick.
I don't know his real name, but we'll go with that.
Yeah, when you see him, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's right." He's
this fucking guy. He's it's the most accurate description anyone's ever given of him. My goodness. But
he did he was a dick, but he redeemed himself by sacrificing himself for Anne Hathaway. Yep. So fair enough.
And then they left a guy on the ship, which they were gone for them. What was like an hour or two tops. And then they dock back with the ship, and like, how long has it been? It's like 23 years.
Yep. And it was at that moment. So I thought, okay, time is going to be the big resource. They're going to have to figure out how to minimize time. So I thought that was going to be like basically what the movie was about, or the big crisis is always on the brink of losing time. Oh no, we can't lose another minute. And then they were just like, nope, it's over. 23 years have gone by. That is not the point. It happened.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to avoid this. I thought, like I'm saying, like that was what they were going to have to avoid and get to the happy ending. And they took that option right out.
Yeah.
Immediately.
That was just like, oh fuck, like that much. Yeah. But
and the idea that they were gone, or that first person that was on the ship, excuse me, the person that was on that first planet that they explored, that was there first, that set off the beacon, left years before, but because of the time dilation, probably died minutes before they got there on that planet.
Oh,
they were saying.
That's right. It's such such a good mind fuck at this point. And then so they go to try the ship or the exoplanet of Dr. Mann, who was played by, you find out, Matt Damon, and was also the man friend of Anne Hathaway, Dr. Brandt. There we go. And she was like, yeah, I want to see him again, essentially, which I was kind of like, all right, I feel like you're kind of selling her short as a character a little bit.
But she was also, and spoiler alert, I guess, like we said, spoiler, but she ended up being right anyway. Yeah. So it was like, she was saying it's based on data, and yes, I want to see him, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
That's true. All right, fair enough. But it
was slightly selfish.
Yeah.
But the Dr. Mann planet of Matt Damon, which could also be an album name of NASA Underground, or at least a song. But this was the first time where I called scientific bullshit, because they had frozen clouds that were still somehow floating and that you could also land on and walk on. So some of that didn't add up. They didn't explain. Maybe there was the density of the air was somehow more dense than these floating ice clouds, but that was kind of the first time where I was like, I don't know about this one. If you're Kip Thorne, write in and let me know how that's possible.
Or if anyone can send an email that's a really good Kip Thorne impression.
I'll take it. I will buy it, hook, line, and sinker, for the record. Register a new Gmail account right
now. So they get to Dr. Mann's planet, and it's feeling a little hinky after the first few minutes. Yeah. As we mentioned, that ratcheting tension music really builds up.
I was going to say, that was my note for this. That I didn't know it was Hans Zimmer at the time, but the music in this really added to that. They seem so casual, something's going to go wrong. And it kind of was going between the back and forth between, so now his daughter on Earth is grew up to be Jessica Chastain. And so they're doing some tension with her. I forget. I didn't
that's right. This is what left out. So Michael Caine is Anne Hathaway's dad in this movie, and Matthew McConaughey's daughter, who grows up to be Jessica Chastain, goes and works with NASA. Which the only thing that they did with Michael Caine to show that he got older was put him in a wheelchair. So I wanted to know, how come only his legs got older?
Shark knees.
Well, it was the first feeble attempts at shark knees. That's why the rest of them looked good, because he had other shark parts, but the shark knees, where you could only do that once.
Yeah. His shark ribs are in great shape.
So he figured out the math, or he figured out the gravity problem, but he hid that he did, and I think that's what was ratcheting up at the same time. So it was like they're being sabotaged on both ends of the mission because you're finding out.
Well, not that he figured out the gravity problem, but he realized that it was impossible to figure out.
Right.
And the whole Plan A thing was fake, and it was really Plan B was the real Plan A. Plan B was a secret Plan A this whole time.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah. But they did bring up that relativity, general relativity, and quantum theory have a point where they are irreconcilable, I guess is the appropriate word.
There was like 6 or 7 times during this movie where they said some shit, and I was like, I know that.
Yeah, I knew what that meant.
I'm aware. So even if for nothing else, you helped me understand Interstellar better on the first go round, this is a success.
Yeah, that was the goal of this podcast.
You know this movie Interstellar? Not entirely. Cool. I want to know it better before I watch it.
I would like a groundwork. Give me a good baseline to understand this movie that you're unaware of.
So then that's right. I forgot that whole side of the story of Michael Caine, Jessica Chastain. Yeah. But she ends up continuing to work on the gravity parts or whatever the hell we just talked about.
Yeah.
And then
he dies and tells her the truth, and she keeps going with it. And in her quest to kind of figure out what this thing is, she decided, let me go back to my room. And that worked out. But yeah, that might be jumping ahead, though. I think we have other stuff to get to first.
We do, but we're close. We're close to that.
Yeah. So back to Matt Damon, though. So apparently, if Matt Damon is by himself on a planet, there's a 50-50 chance that he's going to be cool or he's going to be an asshole. Because on Mars, he's real cool. But on this random planet, turns out he was an asshole.
Yeah, he was. What a dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that was an intentional for a couple of reasons why he got cast in that role specifically. Number one is he generally, like, the moment you saw him, what did you do? And like, unless you hate Matt Damon, you're probably just like, oh shit, Matt Damon, all right. You know.
Yeah, I was like, is that Matt Damon?
Yeah, it's like, exactly. All right, cool. Yeah. And like he is like,
oh shit, Matt Damon's in this too? Yeah, I think that was my actual out loud reaction.
Yeah,
because I was surprised at all that was between I was like, oh shit, Anne Hathaway, oh shit, Michael Caine, oh shit, yeah,
and then like getting him that late in the movie too, it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah,
but because of the like the air that he brings, like he's pretty well liked as far as actors go.
Yeah,
and to intentionally put how everyone's preconceived notions about who he generally is or who he generally plays, to then have him be this like fucking cowardly psychopath maniac, fucking doing all the worst shit for it. Like, so between that and the fact that he's not in there that much, they intentionally hid him from all marketing from the movie. Because it's such a small part anyway. You're not going to put his name on the fucking bill for the tiny bit of on-screen time that he has.
Right.
And Martian, oddly enough, came out a year afterwards. So I think that helped us even more, because Martian kind of gives us, like, because he's the hero of that story. I haven't seen it, but I know he's the hero of it. So
well, maybe that'll be the next one. But same thing.
Yeah. So real good casting job by Christopher Nolan.
Maybe Matt Damon signed up. He was like, I'm going to be in this movie where I'm going to be on Planet Alone. I need some practice.
Is there anyone else with a Planet Alone part available? I'm kind of ramping up to something here.
And then he got coordinates in his Cheerios and tracked it down. They were like, "How did you find this place? It's the most secret place in Hollywood. We have a lead role for you."
I am so sorry. I have to pee. I thought I was going to be able to hold it. I'll be quick.
Okay.
You don't have to talk, but feel free to talk.
I like to do this, even if it's bad. So, first planet they walked on, the gravity was 130% what Earth's was, what Earth's is, and they struggled walking. So I thought that was a nice touch because as the gravity increases, it gets harder to function if you get up to a certain point. And that's one of the reasons why when it comes to talking about finding new homes out there, like a lot of the planets that we see when we're dealing with like a super Earth, Earth-like conditions, but just much bigger, that alone right there kind of makes it inhospitable for us. Other life could have evolved there, formed there, but for us, it wouldn't work out because we just don't have the strength. We wouldn't have our muscles are evolved to function on a planet with the mass of this planet. So anything bigger wouldn't work out, and anything smaller for that matter. Like when you go see people leaping on the moon and things like that, over a certain amount of time, the way our bodies grow is evolved to incorporate gravity. So like we grow at a certain rate because gravity is pulling down at a certain rate. So I mean, I don't know if it would be bad for bones on different planets, just going through puberty, that you shoot up and now you're taller than you're supposed to be because you don't have that same pull pulling you down on a smaller Earth-like planet. So yeah, the idea of even seeding another planet, I can wait for Charles for this, but that was the plan B that they were talking about. So he's almost here. So I'm going to wait. Yeah, perfect timing. Because I was just bringing up the idea of life on other planets evolved on that planet. Life on this planet evolved on this planet. So even their plan B, where they were talking about seeding other planets, taking fertilized eggs with incubators and whatever else, and putting that on another planet, if the gravity is different, if the atmosphere is slightly, all this stuff that our bodies are used to, especially gravity. If you're dealing with a smaller mass or a larger mass, the way our bones grow over millions of years incorporates the strength of gravity on this planet. So somewhere else, if the gravity isn't enough, maybe it would make our bones weak because they're growing too fast. Or if the gravity is too strong, maybe we just can't grow at all. We stay squished. We kind of can't walk. Our muscles aren't strong enough. Like, it's a very, very precocious situation, our existence on this planet versus anywhere else. Again, not saying other life can't be there, but we would have a rough time anywhere else.
Yeah, I remember like they were even bringing that up, like the gravity is compared to Earth's on one or two of the planets, and just like
the water one was 130%, and they were having trouble walking. It was like hard to walk.
Yeah,
but sorry.
Yeah, it's like that's like walking around with like a 50-pound backpack on all the time.
Yeah,
and except
just another dude on you, just a dude hanging on your back.
But like, it's not just when you're walking around though. Like that's the thing. Like you're laying down. Oh, by the way, there's also, and it's equally spread all over your body, so it's pulling on your face as much as it is your feet.
Yeah, it just sounds awful.
Yeah. Gravity, I like you right where you are, bro.
Yeah, right.
You keep it.
We have this nice agreement.
Yeah, you keep it up or down or whichever way this is. And like that was another thing I had with seeding the planet. Like, what are they growing in? Is there enough tech to incubate and then grow these babies until that like people can procreate on their own again? Which I guess you'll worry about that when you get there. But where are you going to put all these?
Right.
Where are you going to put all these babies?
Right. And who's these babies taking care of the other babies? Yeah. They were sending these robots to be nannies or something. Because I tell you, I got a 12-year-old. He's just starting to figure out stuff. that's a long time.
I am a 42-year-old. I am also just starting to figure out stuff.
Right. This is still a work in progress.
And that's like anytime that people are like, you sure you don't want to have kids? And my argument is always just like, I'm not good at this yet. I don't know how this one works good yet. So I don't think I should be in charge of a new one.
Right. I'll just put all this on this new one. Yeah. Do you like anxiety? You're gonna love living with me.
Do you enjoy being excited by and also terrified by everything that you encounter all day long?
Well, good news, bad news.
So yeah, we realize it's all a ruse with Dr. Man, and he's an asshole Matt Damon, and then he tries to kill McConaughey, and it's fun. They kept using the they kept playing with the idea of that they couldn't get AI to do things because AI doesn't understand the concept of death, kind of thing, and kind of giving it the heroic angle of
right,
like the human spirit and the human condition being the intangible factor in
the fact that we're fucking paranoid and neurotic.
Yeah.
That's what makes it beautiful.
Yep. All that stuff we just said about being terrified by everything.
I was like, oh, robots can't figure it out. They're not scared of bugs.
Robots can't figure it out. They've never seen a scary movie earlier than they should have. So then it's all been a ruse because man thinks they won't come back to rescue him if he sends data that it's a good planet, but it's actually a bad planet, not doable.
Yeah.
And then so he had his own ship, right? His ship still worked, right? There were two ships, and then
there were somehow two ships because he left with one, and then they chased him with
right,
one.
Yeah. So he tried to steal their.
But didn't his blow up when the one robot, like the guy tried to enter the thing for the robot, and it blew up?
I think that was his his lab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's like where, because once that guy got there, he saw that it was all faked, and as he was putting that together, he was being blown apart.
Exploded.
Yep. Well, he got to live 23 more years than the other two, so.
Yeah, by his fucking self in space with a smart ass robot.
And
I think to point out, like, Matt Damon, because as I was watching it, I was like, why is he doing all this reckless shit? He's a scientist. He should know, like, with the airlock, that it wasn't perfectly locked, and he was like, fuck it, I'm going through anyway. I was like, that's a stupid thing for the best science. Like, they even said he was the best of us. Like, he's supposed to be the best scientist. And actually, my wife said, I think that's the point, to show that he's been by himself for however long, decades. So he went crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was having a similar conversation with my wife after watching it. It was like, yeah, he's lost his shit. Like
Yeah. So desperate. He just, it's fuck safety.
Yeah, like Bill Burr had the joke, and this is just about not having a roommate and living by yourself for a little bit. Of you need someone to live there, just so when you start getting really weird, that you have, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like that.
Right. Yeah.
So now imagine
Bring you
that
back.
times you're on another planet. On another planet, we'll never see another person again, most likely.
And on an inhospitable
Yeah.
planet. Yeah, you're gonna die here.
Yeah. So just the slightest bit of hope, like that's all fight or flight right there. It's all, yeah, it's all just almost reactionary at that point, for lack of a better word.
Right. So desperate that he went beyond reason.
Yeah. And and he died. Yeah.
He did. And the thing exploded, and Matthew McConaughey was like, all right, now I'm go ahead.
I'm gonna put my hands on my hips for a sec, try to figure this out. See if I can. By the way, he I don't have a bottle, but maybe I'll remind me next episode I'll have a bottle. He's like drinks beers out of bottles in a specific way. I've noticed it in a couple things that he does. It's like a weird, like almost sloshy thing. I don't know. I can't explain it, but I can do it. I've practiced.
Okay. I'll have to see it.
Oh yeah, so he gets he comes up with a plan. They're going to be slingshotting around they slingshot around the actual black hole.
Yeah, using
the gravity.
Yeah, so as the thing is spinning and falling, they figure out how to like spin with it and dock on the fly before it crashes. So the plan is now to get to the black hole, use the intense gravity from near the event horizon, and then drop off the other ships that are connected to the big pod to decrease the weight so that they can send the main ship out to that other planet where Dr. Brand's lover went.
Yeah.
So that's the big plan there.
And the
so
that was the fun line of that move just cost us 51 years. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Fuck.
Which every chunk of time that goes by that they say, it's just like, oh my God, he's never going to see anybody again. Kind of thing. And then to be the big hero, he hid his heroic gambit from Dr. Brandt and detached himself as well so she could get to the planet because they wouldn't have been able to make it with him there as well.
Yeah.
So she can go. He's like, you go take care of those kids. I'll deal with the black hole.
So, and from here, he goes into the black hole, which nobody really knows what's beyond the event horizon. So he crosses the event horizon. But I did think that it was weird that once he crossed that it was all dark. I don't know why light wouldn't be able to get in. It's the escape that's the problem.
Right.
So that was kind of like, why wouldn't you just be able to see? Like, I think the theory says that when you cross the event horizon, you don't notice. It's nothing different from one side to the other. It's just you're not crossing back. It's just
And
but so that's interesting.
My thing when he went inside the black hole was like the ship starts getting hit with what sounds like hail or just like little bits of dust. And
I don't know what was going on. It was breaking up from hitting all the nothing.
or it was just like shit that's got sucked in there, or not immediately. I was like, I wonder if this is like how you were saying like there's the theory that I think Hawking has it that black hole information gets into a black hole, so it should theoretically be coming out somewhere else, and there's no reason why you shouldn't technically be able to reassemble all that information again. So I was like,
Right.
I wonder
Yeah,
if it's
from
just
the
like
Hawking radiation.
little boulders of information, little nuggets of it.
Yeah, he's just hitting all the info on his way in.
The capital of Kansas is Topeka. There's 4 quarts in a gallon. Oh.
And his pain sounds weren't very loud. It was weird. As he's going through, it was a very I don't know. I thought he should be screaming more.
Yeah. Why was he not terrified?
Yeah, you're crossing into a friggin' it's a one-way trip. You go into, everybody knows you go in, you're not coming out. However, not in this movie, because I didn't know. I thought in the middle of the black hole was a singularity, and at some point the extreme gravity would pull you into a string of atoms, like the gravity would be stronger at your feet than your head, and you would undergo the process that Neil deGrasse Tyson coined as spaghettification, where you turn from person into spaghetti as you get pulled. But that doesn't happen in this movie. He ends up behind his daughter's bookcase.
Yes. But it was all the versions of his daughter's bookcase throughout, which Dr. Jenna Levine also brought up that she did really enjoy the representation of a fifth dimension where you can see time laid out before you all as one thing, like just as a map.
Right.
And to see him kind of like come to the realization of he knows where he is and he sees where he is, and he starts manipulating the books and the air around the books, which we figure out is the gravity. It's him sending the gravity out, and just like it was like watching him figure out a roadmap of where do I go. But then that took me to our time travel episode of, but this already happened, so how can he change the outcome?
Then there's no free will, kind of, because he's. But I guess he didn't, because he sent back the message "stay" and he didn't stay. So it automatically, it happened anyway. So,
and that was my my understanding of it. But
that is a really, like, that gets deep, where we start to think about, okay, so how do these beings, which apparently are humans in the future that can access this fifth dimension, this higher dimension, how do they perceive reality? If they're showing this as a form that 4D beings can deal with, like, I can't even imagine, like, if there's a predetermination to this other time. I'm having trouble even saying it. Like, what would their experience be if they're seeing time as a dimension with the beginning in it? Like, do they experience any kind of time or entropy, or like what happens in that fifth dimension? It gets real crazy.
Yeah, like, how do you know when stuff's done happening?
Right. Did you already eat, or are you going to eat later? Like, it all.
Yeah. What is that? Yeah, exactly. What does that do for any need, or like, how does your body, as you exist as this being outside of all of this, how does the entity that you exist as know that it needs things?
Yeah.
Like, do you need anything to survive if you're just outside of time and space like that?
That's that gets into, like, obviously we don't know. Science doesn't even know that shit. That's just like wild and out there. Which
also Neil deGrasse Tyson's thing was like, he was pretty happy with a lot of the way the science was portrayed, and he said, and then as far as inside the black hole, nobody knows what's in there, so do whatever you like with that.
That's true. That is fair. Once you cross that event horizon,
he doesn't know that you're wrong any more than you know that you're right with that. And he was like,
right?
absolutely, I can feel free to just take the ride there because there's he doesn't have that nagging. Actually,
It's like in all right. It's like in Always Sunny when Charlie's saying that he burns the garbage and it goes up and comes into stars, and Max says, "I don't know enough about stars to dispute you."
That doesn't sound right.
I feel like that's...
but I don't know enough about stars to dispute this.
Right. That's exactly what it is. But the smart people version of it.
By the way, that being called, they refer to it as the Tesseract. That area in there, and I was like, "It's like what the fuck?" Well, which came first? And then I went and looked, and it was like, "Oh, Tesseract was a existing math term for quite some time that I didn't know about."
Yeah, that's just like a 4D cube, or if you take a line that's 1D. You expand that into 2D, becomes a square. You expand that into 3D, becomes a cube. You expand that into 4D, becomes a tesseract. Where the idea is like a cube, each face is a 2-dimensional object. So a tesseract, each face would be a 3-dimensional object. It would be this thing that's surrounded in squares somehow.
Yeah, and which the Marvel Tesseract actually looks pretty similarly designed. So, like I pulled it up and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, appropriately named.
Yeah, with like there's like a cube and a cube with all the diagonal lines connecting in.
It's like a cube and a cube harness. If I had to try to,
it's a good way to.
It's like if a cube doesn't know how to cube yet, and you got to like kind of keep it in a harness till it figures out how to do it.
Like training cube, like training wheels. Yeah.
And then, so after all, I think he ends up telling his grown-up daughter, Jessica Chastain daughter, he's able to help her.
Before that happens, actually, just getting back to Jessica Chastain quick, because there's the scene where, so he's telling her what she needs to know through the watch. So she has this big revelation. Right. She figures it out from the watch in her room, but she had just previously burned her brother's crops down. So he comes back fucking pissed off, and she walks out with a watch and gives him a hug. I'd be like, absolutely not. You know, like don't come out with both dads in the watch. You just burned all my corn. And now it's supposed to be cool because you're just showing a broken watch.
Oh, thank you for reminding me of that. So Casey Affleck plays his son as a grown-up. Plays Matthew McConaughey's son as a grown-up. And I wanted to know, why did he as an adult have a higher pitched voice than the actor who was playing him as a kid? Because Casey Affleck, the first time you see him, was just fucking.
I guess he was trying to do the younger high pitched voice and went too far.
But like, like Michael Caine's legs got older, but not the rest of him. His son's character got a higher voice as he got older. What's going on here with time?
Time's weird in this universe.
Wonder if the blight had anything to do with the time. Could have affected it.
But so he came back and now so he survived the black hole and woke up near Jupiter or near Saturn, wherever it was. Got picked up, brought home.
And how did he just got shot out the other side of it? Like essentially just shot out the wormhole?
Yeah, it was almost like he never went in the wormhole to begin with, in a way. But obviously 100 and something years passed or whatever it was.
And he
was just floating around the closed wormhole, but on this solar system side.
And
which again, who are these fifth dimensional beings that can not only open this wormhole but pull someone out of a supermassive black hole or turn the inside of a supermassive black, like this is getting insane. Not in a bad way, because like you were just saying, we don't know what the hell is in there. So like, yeah, these ideas are fucking cool.
Yeah, like isn't like the stuff from No, I'm not saying this right. So supermassive black holes are just pulling in all the there's only pulling it, but it's theorized that it's got to be shooting somewhere, right? Isn't that part of like Hawking's thing also? That
that the radiation is slowly leaking out and the information can be obtained through that radiation.
So possibly along that line of thought is that it got leaked out somewhere. We don't know where.
It leaked out a whole McConaughey.
And when they show him just floating in space, just looking dead for a minute, I was like, oh man, is this all some fucking happened in his last moments before death, before he's suffocating? Like, this is like, it all happened in his mind. None of this stuff ever happened.
Yeah, fever dream bullshit. Yeah.
It's like, don't you fucking dare, Christopher Nolan. That's lazy. And he didn't.
No. Yeah, he came back. Now, like you were saying, his daughter is old. She has a family. And he's like, I made it back. She's like, oh, I love you.
Yeah.
Beat it.
It was I guess you really can't have like a big whole family reunion type thing, but at the same time, for him to walk into like her being surrounded by her loved ones, which are that's his kin.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's his grandkids and great grandkids that no one was like, look who it is.
But
she was just like, I knew you would come back. Now you got to go find that other chick where you left. You got to get back there.
I like it. They left the door open for Interstellar too.
They did, but I doubt they'll have it. But they did leave it on. But one of the things. So here was another question of mine. So she was near the black hole with him. So they were experiencing the same time dilation up until the point that he dropped into the black hole and she shot off. So I don't know how long it was that he was falling through the black hole, but even if it was a minute and a half as he's getting into these higher gravity wells or whatever, there's higher gravitation as you go towards the singularity, he's going through that time dilation even more and she's not. So the idea that his daughter was like, you got to go to her, she's establishing a colony. Like, how many years have passed between the two of them? He's still the same age, but again, was it another 20 years for her?
Yeah. Like, so if time slowed down for him to a crawl compared to anything,
right,
everybody should just be like exponentially getting faster.
Right.
Like, or their time should be
I mean, at the
accelerating at a higher rate, rather.
At the time that he was coming up with the plan, like, never mind where he was in the black hole and behind the books and stuff like that, just coming up with the plan that here's what we're going to do. At that time on Earth, Jessica Chastain was, 30 or however old she's supposed to be at that point in the movie, 23 years later. So she goes from there to on her deathbed. Let's say 70 years, just assume she dies at 100 or so. So that means that much time passed between him and what's-her-face too, no? Or at least some of it. I know, like, she was in there for a lot of it in that higher gravity.
Yeah, and
but Anne Hathaway's got to be older.
Yeah, I looked this up and I forgot. I mean, it's Interstellar.
So he's going to get to that planet talking about repopulation and then be like, ooh. Never mind. That's why he likes high school girls, right? He keeps getting older. They stay the same age.
That's right. I'm in a gravity well. They keep being outside of a gravity well. All right.
All right.
All right. 2067 is present day. 2069 to 2092, they're going into the wormhole.
All right, so it's like 25 years.
And
I got 23 that he was once they hit that other planet.
2180s, 2190s is the end of the movie. So like 120 something years goes by. over the course of the
Wow.
whole
Yeah.
movie, which I looked up. He experienced as probably a couple of years total, the
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah, a lot of the time for him was probably in that sleep where they went in the
Yeah,
little package.
cryo sleep on the way to Saturn.
Yeah.
But I dug it though. It was pretty neat.
I liked it a lot.
I was kind of riveted throughout. It takes a lot for me to not be looking at my phone. I realize
It takes a lot for me to go to this was one of those movies where I was going, what are you doing? Like I talk to the screen. I never do that. So
oh,
yeah,
nice.
I was into it.
Yeah.
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 Like, oh, you can't hurry up. What are you doing? Like, yeah. So
And that's a big proponent why like people are like, oh, did you see the trailer for this? No. I fucking don't watch trailers. And I'm not trying to be, oh, I don't watch trailers. Like, no, I want to be fucking surprised. I want to be fucking shocked by some shit. I want twists to be twists. I want Matt Damon to pop up and be like, holy fuck, it's Matt Damon. I didn't realize it.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that was exactly. I was like, does this dude look like Matt Damon? Or no, that's Matt Damon.
Is that Jesse Plemons guy that looks like Matt Damon? By the way, I did make the joke, but it was only because there is a movie called Interstellar 2 Operation Terra 2040, which came out in 2016. Yeah, and it's
2040. Yeah, that's 27 years before the start of our movie.
Yeah, it's made in another country. It does have a solid 1.4 out of 10 stars rating.
I hope it's Bollywood.
No, this is Eastern Europe / Western Asia. Though I would agree. I would love to see a nice dance number that the whole cast, both the good and the bad guys, all join in together to dance at the end.
And I love in Bollywood, like the heroes are all indestructible. Rip something in half with their forefinger and that kind of thing. Like there was, I forget the movie, but there was the one guy that stabbed a general with a banana. I can try to find the clip for that and share it in the links. If you've never seen it, it's amazing. He like bats bullets out of the air and he's eating a banana and he stabs the guy with it.
Please find me that.
It's fucking phenomenal. Yeah.
And I will share my favorite Bollywood clip with you. It's you can find it under Golimar, Golimar, and it's pretty much ripping off the Thriller video.
Oh,
man, that is one of the songs that lives in my head till I'm dead. It just randomly, it's one of like 3 songs. I can't think of what the other 2 are now, thankfully, but one of either Lauren or I will be like, oh, fuck. Like what? Like, I got one of them in my head. And it's like, all right, don't tell me. And it's like, well, I kind of don't want to tell you. And then I'll just start doing it's like, nice. Now you're doing this for the next week. But it's ridiculous. Like the audio production in that is like there's supposed to be an echo effect of him saying Golimar, and he goes Golimar. Like it's just the guy saying it lighter into the microphone. It's like you motherfuckers couldn't afford an echo pedal.
Right, his DIY echo.
It's like in Cable Guy when he's doing the okay. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm going.
Yeah, Interstellar. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a long movie, so we had to go long on the podcast. I figured this was going to happen.
Yeah, I
Thanks.
look
for
forward
listening.
to watching it again too. Just like again, not to harp on Nolan too much, but he does like a lot of his movies are a different movie the second time around because
knowing what you know.
It changes your perspective on stuff. Like Matt Damon's going to seem like a creep out of the gate now. Like there was at least that little bit of optimism.
Yeah, especially
initially.
Because when they were like, "You want me to fix that robot?" and he was like, "Nah, it needs a human touch." Like that little throwaway line that was him saying, like cheekily saying, "Stay away from that." Or like the fact that I thought for a while that this was an alien movie.
It's
and it turned out it was it was a McConaughey movie.
You just want to watch a little bit more of this one, and then I was getting into my Clinton there.
It's tough. There's a slippery slope.
You got to stay down here a little bit lower in the register and try to.
Yeah.
If you get too up here, then that's where it's more Clinton.
Right. Clinton drags a little more too.
I'd like to be able to Woody Harrelson. I'm gonna work on his next. Old Woody Harrelson too. That's more fun.
Cheers, Woody.
No, I like old current. There we go. That's what I meant. Like current day Woody.
Oh, old man. Yeah. Gotcha. Yes.
Because you could just say wilder shit. Just kind of like, oh, okay, sir. Whatever.
He's another like. Who knew that all the dopey shit that he's been in, that he's just a fucking brilliant actor?
Yeah. Like the dopey kid in Cheers is a really good actor.
Yeah. Who knew? Well, I guess he was good at being dopey.
I think he might be, speaking of dopey, saying some wild shit, but who isn't at this point anymore? So,
is he?
I don't know.
We don't.
Whatever.
You know, I separate the art from the person. I never met him personally. I like movies.
Socrates. He might have.
It's not like I can get my money back. He's a dick. Give me my money back. Sorry. It's gone.
Man, hope I still remember how to do the plugs. Under the Guise of Science. Guise always spelled Guise. Gmail, Instagram, and Facebook.
On Twitter, we are at Science Guys. On TikTok and YouTube, we are Under the Guise of Science. And Fart Barf
is in fact fun. And folks, we will see you next time. And for all you folks in the audience for staying quiet for so long, we just want to... Oh, okay, that's a lot. All right, you don't have to... Okay, all right, well, that's
still going.
All right, you guys don't have to keep... Okay, all right, this is a lot.
They love us.
This is a lot. I mean, I just can't believe you guys didn't make any noise. But, yeah, well, till next time. Fart Barf is fun.